Okay, I managed to record this entire 20-minute video without actually recording audio, so I'm going to have to narrate over this video. Hopefully it won't be too bad. But okay, basically since the last video, I've redone the pull-up animation because I looked at a Modern Warfare 2 video and saw that how they do it was separating hands and then together, so I've just recreated that. And I've also done a drop down animation, which you can see I have to set between frames 60 and 90, which is basically just reversed of the drop animation. And how I did that was just basically selecting the frame 0, copying it and then pasting it on frame 90. So it's like a really quick way of just duplicating the animation by copying it. So I'm also going to do it for the hand control now. Set the hand control, go frame 0, go to 90, copy and paste. I've also had a new entry for the pull-out animation, drop down animation, and it supported that. So pull out. You can also have a longer pull-out animation, but my friend didn't want one. Normally, typically, you have two pull-out animations: a quick one, which is basically like I've just shown you there, and a longer one where you pull it out and then the hand will cock back the bolt on the side and then put his hand on it. But my friend said he didn't want one, so I've not created one, but you can create one if you want. So now I'm just going to update the weapon file to have I'm just going to go through and replace all pull-out animations and drop animations with my ones for FN 2000. Typically though, I would just now continue to create all the other animations without testing them, but I'm just showing you these animations now, because it's like a tutorial, so I thought I'd best show the progress and stuff. But also, if this is like your first couple of attempts of doing this, probably best to check your work as you go along. I've done like 20 weapons, so I kind of know if it's going to work or not. So best to check your work like I am now every time you do a new animation. So I'm just going through replacing. You have like quick raise aim and first raise aim. First raise aim is an animation that's played the first time you raise the weapon after getting it. So you could have an animation that's a little longer and more fancy. Like for my axe animation, I have one where he switches hands and stuff, and for my katana, I have one for putting away. I have it where he spins it round, puts it in. Also, that you can have different playback times for quick raise, fast raise, and normal raise, which is set about 10-15 lines down in a weapon file typically. If you just search for like raise time or drop time, you'll find the times, and they're in seconds. So 0.3 would be 0.3 seconds. So you can modify them if you want. So you can use the same animation for pulling out all the different pull-out types, but have it play faster and slower. It's just how I have it currently. So we're just going to copy the weapon file into raw single player weapons, or weapons single player. So then when we build the mod now, it will compile our other animations that we just added into our mod.ff. So then we don't have to include them in CSV. They'll be compiled for us. I think I've said that before, previous video. Anyway, so we load the map now. So our raise aim is working fine, and our drop aim is also working fine. It's a bit hard to see though because it's a little bit quick, so I'm just going to zoom out. Well, I'm going to increase the field of view So now we can see it a bit better. So you can see the hands and raising. So that's what I'm just going to increase it a bit more. I'm also going to move the weapon forward 5 units. So that's working fine. And also our sprint looks good. Let's run it back to 85. Default 65, but my friend wants the weapon made for 85, so I'm testing it on 85 as well. So we need to do our fire animation and reload animations because their MP41s are still being used currently, so that's why they look a bit funny. So we're going to do the fire animation now because that's quite a simple animation to do. It's only like 2 or 3 frames long. I'm just going to check in my GSC because between this video and the last video I changed it so default would be 80 for testing, but it didn't seem to apply when I loaded then, so it's just double checking. That's all that is. So I'm just saving it now. So if you've got an animation, like, you should always just save it and have loads of copies of stuff. So if you modify something and you like ruin it and stuff, especially if you're new to this stuff, like I think when I first started out, like it would be a few times when I would like redo stuff. So having backups and copies of stuff is very useful. All I'm doing here is just naming, saving the file as fire, idle and drop, and then I'm going to edit this file so to remove the drop animation, and then I'll create the fire animation on this note track. I could just delete all the animation data and only have fire in here, but I decided not to for just personal preference, I guess. I could have just selected them there and deleted, but decided to be silly and use the timeline to delete the animation data. Like, retard. Let's just remove the animation data on that. So we have no animation data past 60. We still have our pull out and idle in there. The only reason I left them in here is so that like I can just play the whole thing, pull out, idle, and then fire. So you can see them all as like a seamless timeline. I've saved that before creating the fire animation. So that's saved. So we have our pull out and idle. I'm now going to adjust the timeline to start at 60, which is where our fire animation is going to start from. And because we only want our animation to be like 3 or 4 frames long, I'm going to edit the timeline to stop at 63. 63, sorry. I changed it to 64 though in a second, because as I decided I don't want it 1 frame longer. I think 4 or 5 frames is probably the max you want to go for a fire animation. You can get away with like, I've not tried 1 frame, but you could definitely get away with like 2 frames for a fire animation. It would kind of be pointless having 1 frame though, because you couldn't actually have like, well, yeah, you could have 1 and just have it just different than the base pose, I guess. But 2 or 3 or 4 is just pretty decent. like good range to be in. I'm also checking this video to see what sort of stuff it does when it fires in Modern Warfare 2, and it's a pretty uneventful fire animation in Modern Warfare 2. So all I'm going to do is just move it back a little bit. I'm animating in the middle, so 60 and 64 are idle position, and 62 is going to have a little bit of a back sweep and be moved back a bit. So that's what it looks like when I play that. Looks good. So now we just need to add an entry for this animation. Set our timeline from 60 to 64. Well, obviously you can put yours to whatever your timeline for your fire animation is. We'll give the export a name of fire. Spot that. And then we'll copy this into raw XAN export like all the other animations we've previously done. Asset manager, we need to create one, so copy and paste from and rename it to fire. Enter. And then all you need to change now is the aim file name. You can actually edit it just by typing in the edit box of the window, but I just browse because I'm special. I've just copied the name onto my clipboard now so that I can search and replace any animations, fire animations. I think there's two. There's fire and there's last shot aim. Last shot aim is not really applicable for this kind of weapon because of just the nature of the weapon, because it's an underbarrel clip. Well, the clip is underneath by the trigger. But you can use last shot aims typically for like belt fed weapons or weapons that have like a deagle. For a belt fed weapon, you could have your fire animation as the belt being moved, and then for your last shot animation, you could have the belt like going into the weapon, so it will appear as the belt's gone into the weapon as it's run out of ammo, because obviously it's the last shot of the clip. For a deagle, on your last shot, you could have the slider go all the way to the back position to simulate to represent that it's run out of ammo. So there's a number of things you can do with the last shot animation, but here I'm just going to use the fire animation for the last shot animation because currently there's nothing different I want to happen for the last shot. So we're just updating the weapon file again. Launching them on after we compiled it, so we have a fire animation in now. So we have 4 animations done: pull out, idle, drop, and fire. Because our tag flashes at the end of the barrel and not the silencer, the flashes inside the silencer, as you can see there. You could have a separate animation for the silenced version of the weapon where it moves the tag flash to the end of the silencer. But I'm not entirely sure if silenced weapons even have a muzzle flash. It's been so long since I've played COD. They might have a very small one, but I'll check before doing that. But it's very trivial to make a separate fire animation for a silenced weapon. Other than that, looks good. I'm just looking at the shell ejects now. and they were going forward. I'll show you now. If you can see, they're going towards the silencer instead of out to the right. So we can fix this quickly by modifying the rotation of the tag for the fire animation for tag brass. So we just select tag brass and change its joint orientation on the z-axis. So the little red line that's facing forward, we're going to make that face to the right. It's not what I want to do. It's -90 actually. So now our red's out, so our effect will be orientated out to the right now when we fire. Simple as that. Cod5, same export, update it. I just had to pause the video then because my last video had finished rendering and it appeared in the middle of the screen, so I just cut that a little bit out. Convert. Build the mod. Wait for it to build, then launch. Load them up. So now the shells are going out to the right, which is how we want. I'm just going to move the gun over to the right a bit more and then see what it is there. That's looking alright, but we can't see the shells. We can only just see the shells at the back of the scope. So what I'm going to do now is change the orientation again of tag brass and then tilt it up a bit so that the effect will also be tilted up a bit, so then hopefully the shells will go a little bit higher. We could just edit the effects and change where the shells go, but it's quicker to do this. And also we can use two effects files for the same weapon. I probably should change out the effects shell eject file to a lower caliber bullet shell, because obviously the ones for the MP40 look a bit too high caliber for this kind of weapon. So now the red line's pointing up, so it's got a bit of an angle to it. So hopefully the shells should kick up a little bit higher. Which I was demonstrating with my cursor just then. Just reconvert that weapon in fire animation. So I just loaded credits because everyone loves credits. Now we should just be able to see the shells above the scope. Obviously if we just had iron sights on we'd see them a lot clearer, but I just wanted to make it so you could just see them with the scope still on. So obviously they're going a little bit higher and they've got more of an arc on them, or more of a curve. Let's put that back, reload so we can fire a bit more. So yeah, they're a lot higher just from that 25-degree angle change. And now we can see them over the tip of the scope. So that's how I want it. All that's left now to do is the ADS animations and ADS fire, because obviously that's not working well, and both the reload animations, which I'm going to do in the next video. I think that's about it. Yeah, the next video will have sound. I won't forget to record. So sorry about this. I had to narrate over it. Hopefully it wasn't too bad.